Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that everybody is off to a good start for your day. I hope that things are starting to come together for you, or maybe it already has, and you're looking to take it to the next level. Maybe you're at a point where you're frustrated, you're struggling, whatever it is. Keep in mind that this is more of a battle of attrition, so to speak. In other words, it's not going to be what you know, how easy you make things, how many people you are connected to. All those things are great. They're part of the planning, they're part of the strategy. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your willingness to stay committed to the things that you say you want to do and want to accomplish. So stay in there, do do what you have to do to make things happen, but be committed to doing it long term. This is not a sprint, it is a marathon. It's ebbs and flows, it's ups and downs, it's progression and regression. You're not exempt from that. There's nothing you're going to claim, nothing you're going to practice, nothing you're going to do that's going to exempt you from the processes of life. What will get you through it is simply being committed enough to stay focused and stay moving forward despite the vicissitudes and changes and ebbs and flows and setbacks and delays and everything else that you're going to experience. Stay in the fight. With that being said, we're going to continue our talk about finances and understanding the financial world, how it operates with or without your knowledge. It's operating, and there are a set of principles, set of rules, um, certain financial dynamics that are at play, whether you know they're at play or not, and they're impacting you, whether you know they're impacting you or not, and you have to become aware of it. Most people struggle in these areas primarily because they don't understand how things work, and they tend to be moved by the results of things rather than to move through the understanding of things. And so, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to stay like we're staying on the theme, but we're connecting each daily theme to finance. Okay, today is Business Concept Thursday, where we talk about the different business principles, different business concepts, and so forth, modalities, things of that nature. What we're going to do is talk about how you build a thriving business, uh, basically step by step. Real briefly, I'm gonna get through it step by step, but how you build it to where it will thrive and it will create what you want it to create in the way of success, in the way of revenue. And we're going to focus on some business mindset. We're going to focus on some principles, and we're going to get through this. Again, if you want to know the basics and a little bit beyond that of finance to a point to where it can definitely impact how you're moving about daily, then you need to enroll in the in the financial literacy 101 and beyond program. The link is in the description box or the post box, depending on where you're watching this at. Uh, if you are a person that's being held back, you're procrastinating, you're balking on opportunities, whatever it is, there's a good chance that you're dealing with faulty paradigms that simply don't support the things you desire to do. Paradigms are built on beliefs that are built on experiences and how those experiences were interpreted that set the lens through which you view life. A lot of things that you are seeing are being viewed through a lens that was created years ago, even maybe when you were a child. And you're going to have to go back, revisit those, recreate those, and reestablish new paradigms. That's what's called a paradigm shift. And the Power Paradigms course has been great. It has been successful. I'm definitely proud of it. Created it a few years back, and it is doing well. You can also enroll in the Power Paradigms course. Good morning, everyone. Now, let's move through this. I'm going to do this quickly because there's a lot of things to do. Um, there's a lot of things to do uh, today, so I want to get through this, and I may even be back a little bit later. Okay, basically, the first thing you're going to have to do when you're talking about kicking off a business or taking a business to the next level is you're going to have to develop and adopt beliefs that support it. Your beliefs set the expectations of whatever it is you're going to do in life, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's finance, whether it's whatever it is. Your beliefs set the expectations, and God, the universe, life, however you look at it, is only going to meet you at the level of your expectations, never above it. So if you're expecting this is what life is going to give me, life is going to bring that to you because your beliefs and your expectations set your behavior. It sets your habits. It sets everything that produces the results you're consistently getting. So in order to get something consistently different than what you've been getting, you're going to have to develop new beliefs about those things. So you're going to have to develop beliefs that support the type of business you want to do, the level at which you want to operate in that business, the amount of revenue you want to generate. Because you can have an idea, you can even consciously know that the idea that you have is viable and that you can do it. But if subconsciously you don't believe for whatever reason that you can do it or that it's for you, you're going to self-sabotage probably without even knowing it. So it's important that you develop the beliefs that are going to support the goals that you're setting. And there are a number of ways of doing that, but it's got to be repetitive and it's got to be habitual. You've got to consistently remind yourself over and over again that you can. The next thing is that no matter what type of business you've got, if you're generating something and you're expecting someone to pay you for it, you've got to be solving some problem, whether it is something highly problematic or something along the line of a desire, but you have to solve a problem. And there are a bunch of problems out there. But what that is you find, and where a lot of people make mistakes is they create something that they will like, something that they find real cool, and then they have to go find people to sell it to. You don't have your audience in mind when you create it. You had yourself in mind, and now you got to go find people who think like you and have the same desires, the same issues or problems that you have, and convince them of it. But when you have an idea of your gifts, your natural talents, along with the skill set that you've developed over time, and you should be refining your talents and refining your gifts. When you have that, then you have an idea of how you work and how you operate and how you fit into this world. And in your gifting is the ability to solve specific and particular problems. You have to look at yourself and say, okay, what problem am I experienced enough, gifted enough in to produce a solution? That's the first thing, because it's going to be in your producing the solution that you create value in the marketplace. Then when you decide, the fourth thing is going to be, you've got to be able to clearly communicate and articulate the problem that needs to be solved so that people recognize that you're talking to them, you're speaking to your target audience, and you're letting them know, hey, this is what I offer, this is what I do, here's the problem, and this is how this problem is affecting you. This is how this problem is doing this to you and doing that to you. And this is how I've solved that problem for you. And this is what it's going to cost you to get the solution. And so that's articulated. And then once you do that, you want to make sure that you use the uniqueness of your gift, which is one of your greatest assets, is your uniqueness. We spend way too much time in this world trying to be like everybody else, trying to do things the way everybody else does it, trying to fit in. When the truth of the matter, your greatest assets and your greatest value comes from your uniqueness, the way that you aren't like anybody else. And here's the beautiful thing about it. When you solve the problem in a different way, you eliminate competition. If you're doing it the same way as the guy down the street and the woman around the corner, you automatically have competition, and there's nothing to distinguish you between you and your competitors. But when you do it in a unique way that no one else is doing it, you're going to have probably a smaller target audience, because it's going to be more specified, more niche specific. But what it's going to do is going to eliminate the competition, because nobody does it like you. If they want it the way that you do it, they got to come to you. And so that gives you longevity, that gives you specific place, that helps with your brand, so many other things. Next, you're going to have to realize that if you're doing something that causes you to trade your time for this money, then you've already capped your income, because whatever you're charging based off of how many hours a day that you can actually be up and be effective and do what you do well, It's going to limit it. So what do you need to do? You have to automate and systemize your processes. I love deployable assets, things that I can create that answer a problem, answer a question, solve a problem, and I can put it out there and people can go get it, i.e. books. You know, I've written 21, i.e. books. Those are deployable assets. If you want that, you can go out and get it. And it doesn't require me to be there. Yes, I do things that does require me, but the whole idea is to automate to the point that the things I do where I'm giving my time is more because I'm passionate about it. I love doing it, not because I have to. And that's something that you have to realize. If you want to take the cap off of your earning potential, you have to systemize and automate it. Once you've systemized and automated the process, you want to just consistently duplicate it with anything that you're offering, any new situations that you're presenting, any new problems you're solving, any enhancements or advancements. You want to systemize it. You want to duplicate that so you can consistently produce it over and over and over again. Books are reprinted, reprinted, reprinted. You can revise it once and reprint it again. You know, those type of things. And finally, you've got to be willing to take action. People talk all the time about knowledge being power. No, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential. Knowledge does not produce power until that knowledge is put into action in a way that produces desired results. That's when knowledge produces power, is when it's put into action. Knowledge by itself is not power. Knowledge infused with action, with intentional and directional action is what produces power. And so you've got to take what you've learned. Even here today, you know, when you go through these steps, once you get to step 7, now you got to go out there and put it to work. You got to sit up. You got to put your product in front of people. You got to get in front of people. You got to find a way to let people know you have an answer to their problem. And you got to go out there and you got to be willing to bump your head. You got to be willing to go back and tweak things and readjust as you find little hiccups. Nothing is ever done perfectly. You're not looking to do something perfectly. What you're looking to do is get going and do something. And with that being said, that's it. You have to get out there and you have to make it happen. There's no magic potion. There is no special type of person. In other words, some people got it, some people don't. It's the people who decide that they're going to go out there and make things happen. I think it was George Bernard Shaw that said that the people who get on in this world are the people who wake up every morning and determine what opportunities they need, and they go out and find them. If the opportunity doesn't exist, they create it. And that's the people that get on. That's the people that experience success. Those are the people who are going to ultimately win. Here's the last thing I'm going to leave with you. If you're going to balk every time you meet a challenge, if you're going to balk every time you meet frustration, disappointment, setbacks, delay, you're going to balk with every obstacle, with every situation that's disruptive, you're never going to achieve true fulfillment in this world, because you're going to have to face some difficulty. You're going to have to face some adversity. You're going to have to make up in your mind that if you want to move beyond where you are, you're going to have to take on some challenges. And it's that simple. And the thing is, it's so many out there that are balking for the sake of saying, I can't, I can't, or for the sake of saying, it's too risky, and not realizing that you can't escape the risk. You can balk and say, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do this. And what you're doing isn't guaranteed. There's absolutely no guarantees, none. Now, we've been conditioned to believe it, but there are no guarantees. So if there are no guarantees, it's up to you to determine what you're going to put into your life, how you're going to invest in it, what you're going to do. With that being said, look, I'm going to get off here because there's so much more I've got to get done, but I want to share that with you. If you haven't enrolled in the Financial Literacy One-on-One program, the link is there. If you haven't, if you feel you're in need of shifting paradigms, if you're in a place where there's so much you want to do, but you're fighting against your own beliefs or your own experiences, you need to check out the Power of Paradigms. With that being said, I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to get to the next thing I got to do. And hopefully I'll be back to you. You guys have a great day. As I always say, I live my life every day. I live it on full so that when I leave this place, I can die on E. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. With that being said, I'm out of here.